I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk with folks from the VTuber community on their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. 5leepyEwa joins us. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. Please introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello. I am 5leepyEwa. For most of you, actually, I don't know if most of you know or have common things. I am a transgender VTuber and have music experience as well. I'm also a music composer.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, it's not really that important, but I'm also a second chair alto sax player.
Wow.
So, cool.
A second chair which player?
Second chair alto sax player.
Oh, alto sax. Oh, wow, I love that instrument. When I was a kid in school, and I stopped at 7th grade, I was playing a tenor sax.
Ooh, tenor.
Yeah.
Tenor definitely does have a warm sound.
Yeah.
But
and
I really like the soprano.
Yeah. When you play the tenor sax in 5th grade, you play lots of whole notes.
Oh, yes. Well, I mean, I guess it will, depending on the time, because music was definitely still very much so developing, over the last, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
For stuff like that. So a lot of instruments that used to have like bass lines and chord lines tend to now have melodies and stuff. Like tubas now have more defined melody lines and stuff depending on the actual piece and stuff.
Yeah, me and the sousaphone had the same music that we shared.
Right.
It was nice to practice my whole notes for a half hour each day. Drive the house crazy.
Just right. Be like, oh yeah, I'm practicing my music, but it's one note or a series of long notes.
Yep, and then I rest. Those rests you can literally take naps in if you're playing the tenor sax.
Oh, okay. So you were that kind of part where you would play and then you would have like 14, 20 measures of rest.
Yes,
and
yes.
And
we'd play paper football or something until it was time to come back on for our one note.
The Super Bowl could be over.
That's right. It was a little tough to do it while during a concert though. We had to do something. I mean, for crying out loud. So you are a composer, right. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
I write concert band stuff. Oh. But I am beginning to lean more towards classical orchestral stuff recently.
Whoa.
Mainly because I'm gonna be joining the orchestral band for school and stuff, and I want to start learning violin.
Oh my god.
As a secondary thing, so that'll be really fun.
Okay, I'm just gonna let you have the show now because you're the talented one here. I'm just gonna talk. Okay, it's gonna be wow.
Right.
I mean, they're pretty different instruments.
Yeah, I mean, like you got a reed instrument, and then you're using your hands for different things instead of keys.
Yes,
but
yeah,
I mean, my options were either violin or the cello, I think it is. Whatever, the big one.
Yeah, that's the cello.
Yeah.
Or there's a couple different ones in there, but a bass.
The cello or the contrabass.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I envy your ability to do that, and I wish I had any real musical talent, but I don't.
Right.
And I also envy your ability to actually write down the music that's in your head.
Right.
Because everybody
and all of the sheet music too.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, it's not crazy for you because you know how to do it and you're good at it. But everybody's got little ditties and hooks running around in their head, but they don't know what to do with them. You know what to do with them,
right?
So
and that's the you gotta kind of let the emotion and like ideas drive you with music and things. You can't really spend too much time thinking about it. You just kind of blatantly paint on a canvas and see what comes out, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, that's something else. That is so how many musical compositions do you have, or do you count them?
Well, oh god. Okay. So in the process of writing, if I will take like maybe 15 different attempts at one piece and then I eventually get something I'm happy with. But if we're talking about finalized music that's, done like that I like, I recently finished an album that came out May 1st
Whoa.
that I started working on from, I think, 2023. I started working on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just finished it. What's today? The 24th as of this recording.
Mm.
So 23 days ago.
Oh, wow.
But then I have a couple of other piano solo stuff and stuff. I do all sorts of things, but I think in total, maybe about 30 total that I've actually finished and I've liked. Maybe.
Wow.
But I'd have to, look into that a little bit more and singly count 1, 2,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I am in awe of that. That's wild.
yeah.
That somebody could.
My
I just
I got musical stuff in the past with my family and stuff. My mom was doing college level piano stuff at 16,
whoa.
and my uncles on my dad's side of the family went to college for music. Of course, they didn't really do anything with those degrees,
Yeah.
but they had that. My uncle was also a drummer for a band, and I actually have a couple of conductors in my old family past.
Wow.
So I'm like, I got family spread out throughout the family tree on both sides of the family.
Jiminy
So
Christmas. That's so you were pretty much fated to do.
right,
It's like,
yeah, and then I guess the VTubing thing kind of just came as a but
yeah, it's gonna. Oh, by the way, what's this too?
yeah, yeah. By the way, I use 3D model on camera because I want to do something else with my time.
Ah,
Um,
it's the three.
I was also a video editor for 7 years as well.
I just did
I do all
radio.
sorts of. I'm just kind of like I'm an ADHD work machine, I
Oh,
guess you can say.
oh my gosh! I mean, that's really amazing. And so, how do you find the time to do VTubing?
Well, VTubing music might come as a surprise. Music is more of my hobby.
Uh,
I want VTubing to kind of be more of my profession and my job stuff or
hmm,
whatever. I started my VTube origins kind of came from watching this one particular VTuber, I think her name is Cypress some shit. She did like a bunch of reaction content and stuff, and
hmm,
I was like, this seems really cool. I've worked with creators and edited videos for other creators with massive numbers and stuff before. I want to be on I want to run the show and not be behind it.
yeah,
So it was like, but I don't want to show my face. And faceless content creation has died down way since COVID because it's become really oversaturated to,
right,
and everyone wanting to be a content creator during that time.
right.
So it's like VTubing is the only other unique space that I fit in. So, I did that, started doing that in
Mm.
January, and I hit Twitch affiliate within my first month of doing it because of my past experience and everything else.
Right.
Which to me was, a cool thing. I was like, oh yeah, I hit that shit within my first month. Um, and then I've kind of trickled down, school and stuff's been getting kind of challenging more recently going in toward the end of the semester and stuff. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's getting a little challenging here. So I haven't
Yeah,
had a whole lot of time to consistently do it. Like I've had schedules and stuff, and then I'd only be like end up doing like half the schedule
yeah.
that I've been given.
It's
Um,
it can get
but
pretty ridiculous, and when you're getting near
yeah,
the end of it, you're trying to wrap everything up as much as possible.
right, yeah, and especially those fucking tests. But
Yeah,
but I've been sticking towards more of the YouTube side of things, focusing on recording more content and stuff. So I still have stuff out there,
yeah,
but it's more on my time to where I can edit stuff and then post it, but have it scheduled to release on different times to where it is more of a consistent schedule, but I'm able to record and produce the content in a more comfortably time manner
yeah.
right now.
So
So,
so you've been performing since you were very young,
um, well,
in
in
one
a
form or
way,
another.
yes. In a way, yes. Um, I wasn't like super young, but like I started my video editing and stuff. Like my first form of social media stuff, I started doing in 2017.
Mm.
Then I started getting better at it throughout COVID and stuff because all we had to do was stay the fuck inside.
That's right.
Um, it was just you have nothing to do, so it was like okay, cool, more time for me to learn and do what I'm doing. Um, and then I kind of didn't figure out where I fit in with music until middle school. Is
Mm.
where I kind of figured out what I want to do with music.
Yeah.
Um, and then I started writing music about 2-3 years ago. So it was like cool. It started out as like lyric writing, and then it kind of moved on to more like the music that I have today. It started with basic music theory, then we kind of moved on to other stuff, and I
Right.
self-taught a lot of myself.
Yeah.
Because the thing with band, and especially in school and stuff, is they don't really teach you music theory. They just teach you the music theory that you need to play as a group.
Yeah. Exactly.
I went beyond that and self-taught myself how to do everything that I do. Um, so never really had to do any extracurricular clubs or anything else. I just kind of was like, ooh, me want to learn this, so me will learn this kind of thing.
Wow. I mean, that's a lot of drive. That's a lot of drive. And it sounds like when you find something that you enjoy, you go right into it. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, there's no time to waiting for me. I believe that like life doesn't have you don't really get a second chance at this life that you have, so you
mhm.
kind of like make the most of it. Even in your younger years, you want to
Yeah.
use as much as you can.
Yeah.
So it's like when I see something I'm into, I'm like, okay, I want to sink my teeth into this and try this out. And if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, kind of thing.
Wow.
So it's like how will you know something works if you don't give it all that you got and then decide, oh well, this doesn't work. Oh yeah, this is cool,
Mm.
but I may or may not want to do this kind of thing.
Well, I got to ask you about classical music here because
Mm,
I'm I don't know I haven't studied a lot of classical music. I know I enjoy listening to it
mm,
as
right.
long as it isn't certain people and it's before 1900 for the most part.
Right.
So how much of a snob am I when it comes to that? Or what is your best what is your form of classical that you'd rather listen to?
Ooh, that's a hard question.
Mm.
Um, I would say usually now I don't nearly write stuff of that genre,
Hmm.
but usually classical music that originates from like the Renaissance era
Oh yeah.
usually is like that's usually the sweet spot
Hmm.
for stuff because and especially because I was like kind of did a fun like, oh, I want to study this kind of thing. Music and sheet music was completely different
Hmm.
from like the stuff that you played and I don't know 1850 something like that, maybe, I don't know. um
Thank you.
but but what is completely different to the stuff that was written in the Renaissance, not just like the way music was written, but like sheet music itself
Hmm.
was completely different
Yeah.
than what it does now in more modernized sheet music and
Hmm.
stuff. Completely different.
Yeah.
Um but like I believe even like clefs and stuff, like treble clef and bass clef was also very different and stuff in the way
Yeah.
bass lines and stuff were written.
Yeah.
But also instruments and stuff were a completely different ordeal back then as well.
Well,
It
yeah.
was like, yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah. Well, depending on
But
where you were, that was the type of instrument you could use. I mean, maybe you didn't have
right,
a particular type of instrument in that part of Europe or wherever you're doing your so you did with what you could.
right,
Uh,
yeah, and then also, but also that's kind of the unique thing. I mean, it's not so much of a as a thing now because I mean, sure, every place definitely still has its traditional cultural instruments that were really, really important to them.
right.
But the thing about now is the fact that you can be wherever you are in the world and play any instrument you want,
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
thing.
No, you can now. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but back then it was kind of more limited. And that's what kind of made it more important is because if you listen to music like from different places, it's completely different
Hmm.
than one place to another. As of like now, people will write music for to fit a certain like cultural theme,
Hmm.
but there are places in those countries that are writing the same modern music that we know today,
Oh yeah,
kind of thing.
absolutely, absolutely. And
It's very much so mixed over the years.
yeah, yeah, it very much has in the because the world has gotten so much smaller. That you get you get a jazz, an African jazz, mixed with a Brazilian jazz, and you get something that's played in Nashville. I mean,
Right, right.
and it's something that you've never heard before, and maybe you like it. Maybe it sounds like two cats screaming at night. It's it depends on what comes up. But
Yeah.
the the mix of the cultures has created a couple of different things in my view. One, it has kind of homogenized some things, a lot of the more popular music, I think. Maybe that's just old man shouting at cloud. Um, but it's also come up with
Hello?
some
Oh,
interesting
there we go.
hybrids. Um,
Right.
and if you scratch the surface, you can get to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the funny thing, because I'm gonna go back to your comment as how, Brazilian jazz and African jazz, and you end
Mm,
up in a performance in Nashville or some shit.
yeah.
Like there'll be fucking Japanese taiko drums with mixed with what was it? This fucking it's weird. It's like a Scottish instrument of some sort
No bagpipes.
that like yeah, that is that weird thing. Like and there was this like band or whatever over here on the islands where I living at. Um where it's this group. You've got Taiko, one's on the pipes,
Hmm.
which I still don't understand how those quite work. And the other dude is like an old like violin cello type thing
Hmm.
from the Renaissance era. So like they're very different instruments,
Hmm.
but they all play together,
Hmm.
and they do make some interesting things together.
Well,
Now I don't know how popular they are, but they're more of a local thing over here.
right.
But like it's very interesting.
Oh yeah,
Very.
you have to open up now. For me, if my local classical station starts playing, um, Scott Joplin, I'm not going to listen to it. I mean, but that's my taste. That's not
You
that.
don't even get me started on how random radio is these
Yeah,
days, because it's like you'll be listening to like, depending on the radio station, of course, you'll be listening to like Billie Eilish, and then the next moment you'll be listening to Moonlight Sonata from I
yeah.
think it was Beethoven. I
Oh,
think
oh,
that's whoever. I
yeah,
think that's
yeah.
whoever made
Oh,
that.
well, it used to be, when I was growing up in the 1850s, like you mentioned,
Right,
we had
right. Yep.
we were listening to portable radios, and that were the size of our hand, transistor radios with
Right.
8-volt batteries, and we had things called top 40 radio stations, which don't exist now. Um, and the
Right.
top 40 could have James Brown and Cher and Bobby Goldsboro, and then
Uh,
Kiss. I mean, and they would play back to back because that was in the top 40. You had a wide variety then. As it went further and further on into the 70s and the 80s, a lot of what you would hear was a very same format. You didn't have any crossovers really that
right.
was doing it so much. You could hear a John Denver song on 16 different stations back in the 70s. Now you couldn't hear them on one. Um,
Right, yeah. I mean, that also has to do with the trends and stuff,
mhm.
with how everything follows through,
Right,
some things,
right.
more in the times
Yeah,
than,
yeah.
stuff back then. And it shows because, the classical music was the most popular thing, back in, the 1700s,
Oh
1800s, and
yeah,
then,
yeah,
nowadays it's more of a like people definitely look back on it as like the ancestor of music
yeah,
rather than the
yeah.
new front of music
Yeah. Well,
kind of
it can
thing.
it can be both. I mean, Paul McCartney tried to get into classical music, and
Mm,
he tried to create a an a classical piece, and the best way to describe it, I guess, was competent.
competent.
Which is a really horrible thing to say to an artist. You didn't do anything
Right.
wrong. Thank you. Um,
He didn't do anything wrong. Looks around in the room like,
yes, I'll leave now. Thank you very much. Um, it it didn't really stand out, but it's heck, Aretha Franklin tried singing opera, and it didn't quite work. And you can't tell me Aretha
Right.
Franklin doesn't have a great voice, but not an opera voice. Uh,
Yeah, there are just some things that work out for other people than
yeah,
not, kind
yeah,
of thing. Like
yeah,
everyone has their own talents with music.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And you and how did you think that's changed? Have you always been a more of a classical music person, or have you been able to incorporate other types of
Oh,
music?
oh no. Oh no. Oh no, not the no. Oh no. Um well, when I first started music, I thought I wanted to do hip hop
Oh,
when I started.
yeah,
Um and rock. And
yeah,
then that swifted over when I joined band.
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh." And what really kind of got me to start it is when I started to, because what I would do is I would, hear, well, we'd play a piece, um, or practice rehearse it and stuff like that. And then I'd be curious because I'd go home and I would listen to the composition itself on YouTube
Hmm.
and like listen to like what the actual song itself is when it's played by professionals.
Hmm.
And what got me to like start writing music like that is when I just start hearing just chords that just like sent my body through space, like
Ah,
beautiful, nice harmonic sounds in the brass and the woodwinds, and it's just like, and then specifically chords. Melodies are great, but music and the bass line and just the harmony was just what like gives me the color in music.
mm,
Always,
yeah,
always, always, always.
yeah. It's not a hook. It's the foundation of
It's the structure of the
yeah,
house.
yeah. It is, and that's amazing. 'Cause I've never talked to anybody really in my entire life who actually, you know, composed music like this.
Right,
Um,
right.
and I've always been fascinated by someone like J.S. Bach because
Mm.
I mean, come on, he had all of the genres back when they weren't genres, and they still finding stuff that he might have done over that time. The
My God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean the amount of imagination he had to have had to create all of that, and
Oh,
then
oh yeah, for sure.
is
For sure.
incredible. Um, do you think you have that type of imagination?
Well, I would say I'm a very emotionally driven person.
Mm,
So it really depends on the emotion that I'm feeling. Sometimes I'll be like from a song that I'm hearing that kind of gives me memories, or maybe something happened, in the real world, and I'm, feeling excited, or I'm feeling happy,
mm,
or excited and happy are the same thing, excuse me.
mm,
Um, you know, just feeling different things, and that kind of leads me to write something based off how I'm feeling. It's almost like I'm painting a portrait of myself in that moment on the score.
mm. Okay, and
Um,
so it's a reflection of what's going on with you right at that moment.
right, exactly. And that's kind of depending on how I am with the song. That's why there are some songs that I've written that haven't come out yet,
Mm,
but that completely change courses because sometimes I'll just change emotions a day
mm,
and I'll write the piece and I'll try and fluently create a transition to something and then change the entire vibe of the song
right.
to where it kind of gives it's what we call experimental songs, or I think
Right.
medleys. It's
Yeah.
between the two. I think a mixture of the two.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's
where
entire
it's not
suites, really.
it's not directly one thing.
Yeah.
It's a mix, an array of different colors,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
kind of thing.
it's a self-contained suite.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't eat it.
Yeah.
Can't eat it.
Yeah. Well, suite. You can't eat it, but
I
you
mean,
can stay in it for a night.
yeah.
Um.
I mean, your
You
ears eat it. Actually, I would have a smart comment to that, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
can.
Um.
You can find that out at home if you check. um. But it's really just the ability to see that through. Do you have that artist's mentality of it's not really done?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Even pieces that like I have finished, I'm always like, there's 100% more that I could do. And I would look back on songs that I've already completed and I'm like, I could probably add something here, maybe change up the chords. Like I'm always like self-reflecting and also being like, there's not enough. that I'm doing with music. Even though I know I'm doing plenty for my age group, I'm doing plenty of things that most people couldn't do,
Yeah.
unless they're Beethoven.
Yeah.
Then that's a different thing.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah. Well, let's just go up to level 9,000 while we're at it.
right,
Yeah.
go across all 9 yards
Yes. And
real quick. Just
yeah,
get all the life
yeah,
experience
we'll
before
face
you
the
even
final
hit 40.
boss right away. Um.
Right.
So, would you rather compose major key or minor key?
Ooh. Oh, that's okay. You know what? I do write both,
Mm-hmm.
but if I had to choose between what I would strictly write if it were life or death,
Mm-hmm.
I would choose minor key, 100% minor key.
Mm,
Because if you didn't know, well, you took band, so I would hope you know.
a little bit.
Major key and things that are sharp and stuff are usually portray happier emotions.
Right.
Things that are minor and flat, the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like writing minor because I really, really, really love writing darker music, darker, more emotional based music
Right.
than, oh yeah, let's go have a walk in the park on a sunny day kind of music. I don't really like writing stuff like that.
Yes.
They're not really my thing.
Ava's
But-
Ava's Piccolo Sonata and no.
No,
Absolutely not.
it was the Woodwind Quartet number 617.
Yes.
Fucking,
Oh, I would rather hear in minor key because I was kind of a goth kid in the 80s. But
Jesus.
hey, I was, and then people,
I mean,
kids now,
everyone has their own things.
kids these days don't even know what goth was. Okay, you didn't even know.
I mean that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. But
So-
like, I mean,
Yeah, it's like,
I understand golf, but I'm also not much of a sporty person either. Like,
yeah, yeah.
The only thing sporty thing that I am doing right now is skateboarding.
You think I said golf? I said GOTH, goth.
Goth? You
Yes,
said goth?
yes.
The fuck is that?
Gothic music.
The music aesthetic. I thought you were talking about. Okay, I know the music aesthetic. My God. Okay, me and you were on two different pages. I'm so sorry.
If you ever saw me golf, you know it was a minor key too. Yeah,
Jesus
all
Christ.
over the court.
Okay.
But yeah,
No, my
but no, it
God.
just to me it's just more interesting to hear.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, especially.
I write different music than I listen to.
Mm.
One of my favorite artists right now is Pink Floyd and like 3 Days Grace right now.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah. Pink
like-
Floyd was ridiculous.
very, very like I am like older rock and like metalish type of music that I'm listening to.
Yeah,
And then Japanese music, which is a completely different turn too.
yeah.
But I like listening to music from that. Mainly because I am been learning the language since 2022 and I'm still learning the language. So
You have
like-
enough brain space left to do that, huh?
yeah.
You haven't just used it up with
I-
all the other stuff.
Very, very, very funny enough. The reason why I was like, ooh, I want anime and dub. I want to understand the actual Japanese anime. So it's like, I'll start learning the music, start learning the language until I can just put on anime naturally and have other people say, what the fuck are they saying? Like, oh yeah, this is what they're saying.
So when you're online and you're streaming, what am I going to watch out of your streams?
Variety game content. Variety game content.
Yeah.
I stream a variety of games and stuff.
Mhm.
YouTube is where it's even more diverse because sometimes I'll do reaction content.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do review stuff, but Twitch exclusively and streaming games.
Mm-hmm.
Right now being Doom Eternal and Doom Eternal, Doom Eternal, Minecraft, Session Skate Simulator,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Overwatch right now.
Mhm.
Mainly because that is until I get my Wi-Fi fixed what I'm able to play. Like I can barely play Overwatch as is. I had a collab that I was doing with another creator. No free shoutouts. With another creator, and we didn't get no more than 30 minutes in without the game
Thing just blowing up at you. That would be so frustrating to have that happen. Yeah, it would just be
hours.
yeah, just everything just wasted at that point. Then there's no
Yeah.
continuity at that point. It's really bad. Yeah, it's something else. Um, I have to ask this question of you. When you're playing a game, does the music in the game affect your enjoyment?
Wait, repeat the question so I can understand it.
When you're playing a game, does the music that's used in the game affect your enjoyment of the game? Do you criticize the music as you go along?
That's funny that that's okay. Okay, it's kind of a weird like superpower I didn't really ask for, but like after I joined band, I don't do it on stream because I control myself,
Hmm.
but I will be listening to music and I'll just start counting tempo, or I'll start paying attention to the key in which the song's in, or the notes in which like I've transcribed songs. So Doom Eternal has a song called Meat Hook.
Hmm.
And I ended up transcribing a concert band version of that accidentally. I was writing something in the alto saxophones for another piece, and I accidentally wrote the main riff, and I didn't even realize it, and I was like, "Oh, oops!" So then I take that into a new piece, and I just start writing the best I can to make the one-to-one creation of that song.
uh,
And I actually did a pretty damn good job too.
oh man,
But
that is
it's
that's.
like.
I don't think I can envy you any more than I already do. So the envy tool is already full. Yeah. So if you can immediately find the meters of the songs, have you listened to a Frank Zappa album and tried to figure that out?
Wait, what happened?
A Frank Zappa album when he's
I've never, I've heard Frank Sinatra. I've never heard of Frank Zappa.
oh well,
Um,
if you hear Frank Zappa, you're going to hear all sorts of times. I think he has one song
yeah,
that has several measures that are 17/4.
yeah. There's this one song from a movie, Kimi no Nawa or Your Name, very one of my favorite anime films to this day.
Mm-hmm.
There's one of the ending OSTs for the more anticlimactic parts of this movie. And that song's written in 12/8. The entire song's written in 12/8, and it was cool to see a song because most common music is written in anywhere from 3/4 to like 6/8 usually.
Right.
Um, but to see something that is completely different and still sound really good is really really like refreshing to me in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but to answer your question as to whether or not like if I judge the game based off the OST or like the music,
Yeah.
mm, not really,
Mm.
because in the end, I'll just start talking shit about the composers behind the music in the game. But like, the music doesn't mean the game itself is ass.
Yeah.
So
So while it's a part of it, you're not exactly doing play by play of the music.
no, I'm not over here being like that's supposed to be in C# while I'm playing my game.
Yes.
No, I'm kind of just playing through it, focusing on, especially when I'm streaming, because my main focus is like, I'm a very silent gamer,
Yeah.
so it's really hard to be very, very verbal when I'm streaming, because I'll just go silent and not even realize it. But my main thing focusing on is trying to find something about the game to talk about at all times.
Yeah.
So I don't have time to talk about the music because I'll then forget about what the fuck I'm doing
Yeah.
on
Is
stream.
is it tough for you to
Um,
get the chat involved when you're trying to do that?
no, not really, actually. I'll annotate, and then if somebody comes in
Hmm.
and chats, I'll like conversation,
Hmm.
and then continue to cut back into the game until chat has another form of activity,
Mm.
or I'll try and multitask it depending on how active chat is, kind of thing.
Ah. Okay.
But
Yeah. Is it tougher when you've got a game that you have to be more intense with? Like if you don't have a pause
ooh,
and
okay,
if you turn your head for a slightest bit, somebody's going to stab you in the neck.
okay. So in a way, yes. It definitely is challenging because I may or may not be a competitive person when it comes to games, so I want to like beat everything. Like it's kind of off topic, but I will get to the answer of this question momentarily.
No problem.
The new Doom game that came out. I don't know if you know too much about Doom
I've
and
yeah,
whatnot.
I played the original. So, but
Yes,
this is not
but
like the original. It's
no, Doom actually Doom: The Dark Ages can't in the storyline is like right after Doom 64, I
mm,
believe.
yeah,
In the story.
yeah,
But the point of what I'm saying is any game from Doom, or at least New Age Doom, because I've played the older ones,
mm-hmm,
are very hyper focused and very battle intensive.
mm-hmm,
Um, and being able to focus on that without dying is a challenge, as is. And I want to make sure I go through like what's easy for me to annotate in a game like that is like if I'm searching for secrets and like Easter eggs and stuff within the game.
right,
Finding all the nooks and crannies and make sure I have like the entire thing completed.
yeah,
But when it comes to like a boss fight or like a sequence where I have 30, 40 different demons on me and I gotta, kill them with a single shotgun because it's what, Doom likes to do. Um, it's definitely more difficult because I'm focusing on holy shit, I gotta stay alive, but I also gotta talk at the same time.
yeah.
So in the end, it just ends up being a lot of stressful, like fucking kind of screamish, like pleads for help kind of thing, like oh dear God, I'm not gonna give an imitation, especially because I am tired and my vocals do not have that kind of ability right now.
You don't have the oomph that you need for that right now.
Right.
Yeah.
If I were to, I have to. It's on a big cooldown if I'm not live. The moment I'm live, the cooldown's done, and I
Yes,
do it.
yes, yes. Folks who use their voices know exactly what you're talking about.
Big battery that's got to get recharged after stream.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
battery.
If you do an 8-hour shift of music and then you come home, you don't want to talk for a good long time after
Mm,
after that.
fucking
It gets,
right.
the phone rings and you just like kick it. You're just
Yeah.
not even going to try. Um, so what do you want to do with your online content now? I mean, you've been at it for a couple of years. You've got a momentum going. You've got a lot of things, a lot of abilities, a lot of talents that you're able to show. What do you want to do?
Well, there are a multitude of things. I am more of I just kind of underline myself as a content creator kind of thing, with including the music, because I have several channels that I run. I run my VOD channel, which is where I put all the unedited stuff, and because the reason why I say I run it is because due to my crappy Wi-Fi, which will get fixed soon, I have to edit out all the disconnections to where it's just the gameplay and people aren't sitting at a disconnection screen for like 50 seconds. While watching the fix that,
Right.
and then I post that stuff, and then I have my main channel, which I record and edit stuff for all the time. And then the music stuff, where I write music and I at least try and get 1 or 2 songs out a month on that thing.
Mm,
Um, tough deadline to meet usually,
yeah.
but I usually do my best with it.
Yeah.
But I see myself as just generally making it as a content creator in general. Whatever works first. If the music blows up first, or if this VTube stuff works out first, then great. Then that's just, my source of revenue kind of thing. And then I will continue to run the other channels and the other platforms until those take off to where I'm making money from all the other sources and stuff. Because I want to do, social media as a job.
Yeah.
Before music or anything, I remember, and it's very, cringy and uncomfortable for me to look at, but there were like videos and stuff of me, as a kid,
Right.
On camera and being like, a little energetic child thinking that I'm, creating content when I'm not. And that because my original passion since I was young, which is why I'm doing it,
Yeah.
was I want to do something with social media.
Right.
Always. Well, I mean, before that, it was I wanted to be, an actor with media and like movies and stuff. But then that moved on to social media once I just found out like how big the YouTube space is and how people are,
Yeah.
playing games, reacting to TV shows,
And the audience is still
making money
growing.
off of that.
The audience, the
Right.
potential audience is still huge, and that doesn't even know what's going on yet.
Right.
It's crazy, and
But
and you just have so many irons in the fire that I can't
right.
think that so many of them are going to come through for you. And obviously you've got the
Right.
work ethic to do this too. Um,
Yeah.
it's fun to talk with someone who not only has these types of talents, but but buys into wanting to do them too. And it sounds like that's you and Aces.
Right. But like, the thing is like I'm running 3 right now, channel wise for like YouTube and stuff.
Right.
Come summer, I'm gonna be running more. I'm gonna have more stuff that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I will have more time to do stuff. So there'll be more stuff that gets put in things, and I have some really big and really, really important projects that I'm proud of, and me and my manager are always,
Yeah.
up until 2 a.m. my time figuring out how we want to coordinate.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, if you get these things
And-
going, you got to come back and let us know about it because there's just too much. There's too much stuff that we got to introduce coming from you because there's too much good stuff.
Yeah, no, I if you would have put me into a book series, you would need like 3 times the amount of books Harry Potter has. Just saying.
You are a Encyclopedia Britannica among yourself.
Yeah.
That's another thing we had in the 1800s.
I am an exclusive search engine.
Yes.
To where if you know me, I am your own search engine. That's what I am.
Well, I'll tell you, you won't have to.
Folks, I would help out Master Chief. I would be the new Cortana.
That's right. Cortana. I tell you, folks, you got to check out what Eva's got going on. We're going to have the links in the description. There's going to be more links coming up, and we will keep you updated because you have to find out what this extremely talented person has got up their sleeves. And I imagine that you have to wear a shirt with a lot of different sleeves because you have that much stuff going on. Thank you so much for coming on. It's an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Yeah, 100%. Big mahalos for having me on here and stuff. Very, very big. If you don't know what that means, that is thank you in Hawaii. I live over on the Hawaiian Islands, so I'm like
another reason to envy you. Sitting in Illinois, it's another reason to envy you.
I'm planning on moving over there, bro.
Oh, to Illinois?
Or Chicago.
Oh,
Illinois.
Yes, the northern part of the state.
Yes. I like the cold. I don't like it. Like I like. It's weird because I live in Hawaii, but I don't like the warm. Warm, no. Nasty heat.
Well,
go away.
Just wait until you get to April in Chicago.
You
can parasail.
I've visited Chicago before, so I know the colds, but I don't know the heat.
And the wind. Oh boy, that wind's gonna get you. But you know what? I didn't think you were a crazy person until you said you wanted to come to Chicago instead of Hawaii. But
oh, bruh, come on.
But you know what?
I'm getting there. I'm not ready for the White Room yet, but I'm getting there.
Well, it'll be one where you have access to all of the internet because we need to know what's going on with you. Again, thanks so much for coming on. Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.